Hi everyone, welcome. I'm going to turn things over to Nadya Dutchin, ShareBaby Executive Director, to get us started. Nadya, it looks like people are still joining, but we have about 11 participants right now.
Great, thank you, Alicia. Good morning, everyone. Well, since we're a little late getting started, we'll just go ahead and start introducing our beautiful guests this morning on this frigid morning. So I'd like to introduce everyone to Shelly Tucker, who's the founder of Maryland Diaper Bank. Um, Maryland Diaper Bank is our partner organization, one of our partner organizations that is dedicated to alleviating diaper need and supporting Maryland families by ensuring that babies have adequate access to diapering essentials. Established in 2018, MDB became the first diaper bank in Maryland founded by a Black leader. Under Shelly's leadership, the organization has been at the forefront of advocacy and legislation, successfully championing initiatives like the elimination of the state diaper tax and securing tax credits for families in need. To date, MDB has distributed over 2 million diapers, helping more than 10,500 babies stay clean, healthy, and dry. Shelly and the MDB also have taken great steps in ensuring that we have been working with the state of Maryland to get proclamations for the Diaper Needs Awareness Week that we all observe at the end of the year in September, I believe. And next, I'd like to introduce Anna Rodney. Anna is one of our wonderful dedicated board members. She's also a practicing doula for nearly 18 years, a yoga instructor, energy healer, and wellness practitioner based here in Baltimore City. Anna is the Director of Advocacy and Public Policy for Doula Alliance of Maryland. She's also the founder of Mom Cares and The Rising Mama, a wellness organization that centers mothers in the delivery of care and support to the entire family unit. Anna serves as Baltimore City's Women's Commissioner and supports the legislative policy agenda for the commission. Anna is the chair of the Baltimore City Maternal Mortality Review Board, as well as a member of the Fetal Infant Mortality Review Board. Anna has been acknowledged by the Public Justice Center for her contributions and collaborations in policy in maternal health. Welcome, both of you. Thank you so much for joining in spite of all of the slippery driving that we've had to do to get here this morning. So, and welcome to all of you on the webinar. So this morning we're meeting together to talk about the mounting diaper gap. We know that the diaper gap in the state of Maryland is 75 million. And so we're all here together to kind of talk about what we're seeing, the emerging trends that we're seeing, and ways that people can get involved. So I'm going to turn it over to you really quickly, Shelly, so you can kind of talk to us a little bit about what's going on well, actually, I take that back. I'll revert back to some data in the background here. So the National Diaper Bank Network, of which we are both a part, as well as the DC Diaper Bank, led by Liz Sherden, recently completed a study in partnership with the Urban Institute that outlined diaper insecurity on a county by county basis. And we learned that the gap between the amount of diapers that families could provide and the amount that they need is 75 million in the state of Maryland. Here in Baltimore City, it is 10 million. And for you in your area,
for Prince George's alone, and although we don't even service the entire Prince George's area, that one is 17 million.
Yikes.
Charles County, where we primarily, where our warehouse and everything is located, that's 2.1. Then we have Calvert County, that was a little lower, about 900,000, and then missing one, St. Mary's. I think that one's about about a million.
Okay.
So we're kind of all close there, but that's 17 million in Prince George's County.
So you're looking at close to 21 million in the area that you serve. So can you talk a little bit about what you've been seeing in your area in the last year?
Yeah, I would definitely say when it comes, not necessarily all of Prince George's County, because as you know, we kind of share that with Greater DC Diaper Bank. And there's other little pockets of like churches and other organizations who do their best to provide diapers and such. However, what we've learned in the more rural parts of the area is that a lot of families have barriers to access due to lack of transportation. Another one is the ability to access services in places where, let's say, for example, in the city base, You may have a service-based provider that is open until 4 or 5 o'clock. Well, where we are, that's not a thing, right? Number one, they're not open every day, right? And for those businesses or organizations or service providers that are open, they're definitely closing when the sun goes down, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and things of that nature. Another thing that we've encountered is that people say they don't have transportation. We don't have a bus system. Every county has like a small transportation system, but it's real limited on where the stops are and things of that nature. So that's like a big barrier. Another thing is something that we talked about on the way here, access to family or support systems. In the city, I can get anywhere within 30 minutes. There, it'll take me, for example, 45 minutes to go from one side of the county to the other. And we're talking about rural from end to end. So those are some of the challenges that we're facing in the rural areas, for sure.
Were there any emerging trends that you saw last year that affected your ability to get items in and then get items out?
Not necessarily getting items in from a purchasing standpoint, but when it came for donors, donorship definitely went down. Last year, volunteerism went down a little bit last year, but increased, believe it or not, during the shutdown. Because some people were home, not for necessarily good reason. But for us, it gave us an opportunity to be on the front lines with those folks. But in addition to that, we were able to deploy like rapid response solutions. So that really helped. So we had a lot of volunteers. We don't do direct, by the way, as you're aware of, many people are aware of. But we've taken those sorts of approaches to make sure that we're able to get diapers out. So we've partnered with many like pop-up shops, specifically one in Charles County. It's called Pop Up and Grow. It is kind of like a food hall for businesses, so to speak. And so they're open on the weekends. So the managers and owners there allowed us to come in and do direct distribution. We had a plethora of volunteers, again, because people were out of work and they worked their children. So that really helped us. And another thing that we did, that we're piloting, by the way, is I began to get like on some groups in Facebook to kind of figure out like what's going on in our areas. And I found out that there's a few little free pantries. And so what we've been doing is taking diapers to little free pantries. And so we're just piloting it, kind of see how it's going to go. See if that's another low cost but scalable option that we can use.
And just to kind of highlight, the areas that you serve, for people who may be tuning in from the different places, a lot of people who work for the federal government live in your service area. Same for Baltimore. I mean, we're kind of the bedroom community for DC also. And so when the federal rescissions happened in March of last year, so many people were out of work, and then the remaining folks who were holding on for dear life were furloughed in the fall. So therein lies, a conundrum. And an issue that we saw here also is that donorship went down, not necessarily for us, not necessarily financial, but the donation of items. We did not get anywhere near the number of diapers and wipes and things that people would normally buy and get in bulk when they went to do their BJ's or Costco run, and they would drop off things here. We did not see that. We were scraping for things for volunteers to do in December. It's good that you had the volunteers and the manpower, not necessarily the best reason for why they were there, but gratefully you actually had volunteer power. And it really speaks to, how much we need everyone to participate in the work that we do, because it takes everyone to do it. It's, we all depend very heavily on volunteers. So
that was, and to mention to that too, we normally have like volunteer sessions like once a month. But during that time period, we were able to open up during the weekday. And so some organizations too, who had members that could actually come during the weekday, but typically they would volunteer the weekend. They were like, so you have anything during the week? And we're like, no, but yes. So, hold on for a second, we'll figure it out. And so, it also, allowed us to work with individuals that we never met before, allow people like you guys had today come into the space and like learn more about what you do. And not just what we do, but at the Maryland Diaper Bank, but what diaper banks are in general, and how to support, other ones throughout the state.
And just to kind of, give some additional background and a reminder, nearly 1 in 2 families need diapers and experience diaper insecurity. And that is of all families. That is not low wealth families. That is not, just working families. That is nearly one half of all families across the country experience diaper insecurity. I mean, it is literally, if you've ever had to consider, the way that you purchase diapers, instead of getting your normal case, you can only afford to get a small soft side pack until your payday next week. That is diaper insecurity. If you've been forced to make decisions about whether you go to work because you don't have enough diapers, that is diaper insecurity. Families experience having to stay home very often, about 4 to 5 days a month, because they don't have enough diapers to take their kids to daycare or to school. And that is really critical. How do you improve your life as a family? How do you go to school and complete your courses? How do you go to work and get promoted? How do you do all the things to make your family whole and safe if you cannot take your children safely and help in a healthy way to daycare? It is still a requirement that babies have enough daycare and formula and food when they go to daycare. And so we really need to have a more comprehensive conversation around all of the social fabric, tightening and strengthening the social fabric so that families have what they need. I heard it the other day when we were at, I don't know if you attended the Strauss Foundation Centennial celebration, but they were talking, it said it really beautifully about raising the floor. Not, raising the ceiling, but raising the floor so that everyone is standing on equal ground. And that's really the conversation we need to be having here and in the state house and certainly in the federal government. Whether anyone will hear us, you don't know, but here we know that is an absolute possibility here in Baltimore. In the state house. So, Anna, would you talk to us a little bit about like the policy landscape and where folks can plug in, and I'll share a little bit when you're done, kind of talking to us about policy and advocacy and what folks can do. I'll share a little bit more about what's been going on here, and then we can
absolutely
divide up.
Yeah, so I think that number one, right now we have to acknowledge that a large portion of our population is a little disillusioned with the civic engagement and advocacy. So I think starting at the point where we still do make a difference, there are still representatives that represent us, that listen to us, who their job is to listen to us, right? And so you talked, Nadya, a little bit about the larger lens, right? And so we're thinking about families that are struggling with childcare and food insecurity, housing insecurity, and just financial insecurity together. And so one of the ways that we can do that, and one of the ways that we're seeing Baltimore in particular do that, is address the financial needs of families, right? Through the Baltimore Baby Fund, which is a pilot. There have been other pilots that have been introduced here in Baltimore around getting funds directly to families to make the decisions that they need to make without having to decide between medication and food or diapers and tuition. And so first of all, we need to understand who our representatives are and how to get to them, right? And so going to, you can go to the Maryland government website, the Maryland legislative website, and find your representative. Reach out to them, speak to them, tell them what it is that you're interested in. There are lobby days that I think we'll talk about later that are associated with diaper insecurity and diaper need, in which you can show up in force with a group of people and talk to your representatives about what is necessary and needs to be done. But on a policy level, what are we looking at? We're looking at the inclusion of specific dollars that can go towards the things that we need support with, right? And so part of the reason, the reason why we have a 90-day legislative session here in Maryland, the only thing that we're required to do and come out of that session with is the budget, right? And so this is the time where you should be talking to your legislators, reaching out, going to visit, writing letters, testifying around what you think is important, right? And so making sure that you have access to your representatives and you're speaking loudly to them, right? But also getting civically engaged as well. There are a number of, unfortunately, it's very clear that I'm a little bit of a busybody. So there are a number of ways that you can plug in and influence and sit and influence at tables that are civically and policy focused, right, around what is needed. So you can make sure that the voice of the people that you're working with and you're working for and are, right, is at the table. So there are a number of things, but I think what I'm very excited about is this Baltimore Baby Fund and seeing how that influences, seeing the data that comes out of that. What we know on a larger scale is that when you give money to families, it's not like we're not like just going out and buying Benzes with this $300 extra, it's $1,000 extra. We're doing what we need to do, and we're infusing it back into the economy by taking care of our families.
Is that the same fund that Brooke Learman was just released a study for, or is this the one that we're talking about in South Baltimore?
There's one in South Baltimore,
right.
And then there's the one that Comptroller Brooke Learman it has released a study that talks about the impact of financial assistance for families.
Right.
So I think, but again, what we see is that the impact of financial assistance for families is a greater positive impact for the larger community, right? And so I like to say that anything that talking about families, maternal health, material need is not just an individual. It's not like, oh, I'm so sorry you can't buy diapers. That trickles into the larger community, right? And so picking this need of whether, regardless of what your family structure is, if your babies are out of diapers, knock on wood for me, but or not, right? Understanding that this is an everybody situation.
Right. Yeah, the universal basic income pilot that finished a couple of years ago was really transformative for the families that participated in it. Mm-hmm. Being able to have that additional funding to spend on better housing or being able to pay your bills on time or buying groceries, the money is spent immediately. It's not getting banked. Unlike, when there is an economic boom, that is usually the indicator of how well families are doing is how much do they save? Nobody's saving anything right now, unfortunately. I think we're all, literally kind of living hand to mouth. I mean, truthfully, regardless of your income, short of, $400,000 or $500,000, most people are still watching pennies and watching their dimes and nickels. So those dollars are getting spent immediately. I love the coupling of the two ideas of one, giving families money immediately, helping them to bring their baby home safely. And then also the investment account for children that grows over the years that will allow them, once they become adults, to purchase a business, purchase their first home, those things that can help build generational wealth that we know many families, unfortunately, were never meant to participate in. Those are really important. The coupling of those two things, not one or the other, but both, I think will be really transformative for families.
And what we know is that generational wealth piece is something that the governor himself has prioritized,
right.
Has said, we want to make sure that there are avenues for generational wealth for all Maryland residents, right? And so again, that's an opportunity to reach out, to talk, to say, hey, this is impacting my ability to save. This is impacting my ability to build that generational wealth that you want for all of your Marylanders, right? I think also, as well as infusing support directly into the family, we cannot have it lost that ShareBaby and the Maryland diaper banks across Maryland are also very integral parts of that as well, right? And so yes, we want to make sure that we are getting money directly to families. We want to make sure that we are creating opportunities for generational wealth to grow within families, but we also want to make sure that we're supporting families about. We're also making sure that people know about the need that diaper banks and like ShareBaby and the Maryland Diaper Bank are filling and will continue to fill, right? Mm-hmm. Because regardless of how the economy ebbs and flows, the staying power of having a place that can dispatch need and support into the community is integral, and unfortunately it's probably not going to go away.
Right.
So in the infusion and support of those organizations with dollars is also integral as well.
Okay, we got a question from one of the attendees about the South Baltimore study. Do you have some more information about it that you could share?
So So the South Baltimore study is focused on Cherry Hill. And so I believe there was a group of families that were given given this fund, right? And so I believe the last time that I checked, there was a sign-on letter to expand the work. If you go to the BaltimoreBabyFund.org, I believe there's more information about the outcome and where they are in the process. Not unfortunately, we are in a space right now of innovation and problem solving and figuring out. So there are a number of different programs and pilots that are happening that are trying to address not just this need, but the needs that we're seeing that are popping up in the last year or so.
Yeah, and we're going to be meeting with them. ShareBaby will be meeting with them, I think, next week. We're going to be meeting with them, bedtime in a box, because I think we're going to try to figure out what could it look like for us to provide a baby box, a la the Scottish government, that does an amazing job of providing like the very, very basic essentials that families need. When you leave the hospital, here are the things that you need to get your baby home, and to get them, into safe sleep, and and to ensure that they're clothed and able to eat and do basic things, with some supplies for mom too, because when you have babies, you have healing mamas. So yeah, you've got to really look out for for all of the people in the household. So we'll be meeting with them next week, and so if anyone has any any pieces they'd like to contribute to that, we're going to need people to help us with fundraising. We're going to need folks to help us maybe assemble boxes. So that means volunteer opportunities here in the warehouse. Please, anyone, if they want to become active, just kind of reach out to us at info@sharebaby.org, and we can connect you with us, with Shelly's organization, or with Anna's, if you're interested in kind of plugging into any of these pieces. We know that here in Baltimore, it was such a wild ride last year, and we saw a lot of the same things that you saw, Shelly. We had a lot of people coming in to volunteer. We had, like I mentioned before, we had a lot of the normal donations that came in did not come in because people just didn't have it to give, and that's totally understandable. We thankfully have wonderful funders who have been really leaning in and who care deeply about us being able to close this gap. Two of our funders are meeting this morning to figure out how to help us get to that place. And so we are working, last year we distributed just under 3.5 million diapers here, and then I believe 1.56 million items a year. We're one of the only diaper banks in the entire region that does more than diapers. So we do, pack and plays and strollers and clothing and shoes, which is the most requested item behind diapers and wipes is clothing. And so we do a lot of that here. And so we know that if we're buying diapers and helping to close that gap, we also need other things in the warehouse to be able to distribute to those same families, because that is not a need without itself. A diaper change usually comes with a clothing change, as many of us know. So we are working with our funders, but we need more people to plug in. This year is the first year of our 3-year strategic plan, very first. I'm holding it. Okay. We're so proud of it. Please go to our website and review it, and please feel free to plug in. We have 4 pillars that we're working towards, and you don't have to be a board member or a staff member to join any of the committees or to help us with the work. This is collaborative work. The better we do, and certainly, the better we do, the better families in Baltimore will do, and we will share this information with anyone, particularly you. And Liz, Shelly, we want to make sure that what we're learning, we don't learn in a vacuum, because when we help families here, that intelligence will help everywhere. And what you learn, please share with us. Absolutely. Because we know that families are coming from all kinds of different situations, and we want to make sure that we're addressing it. We too work through partnerships. So one of the goals that we have next year, we're already in next year, this year.
26 already.
26. I can't believe it. It feels like the longest January ever. But 2026, we will be working to pull people off of our waiting list every single quarter. And that is not something we've been able to do because we have been just trying to keep up, yeah. And now, thankfully, we're able to stay a bit ahead. And so we'll be pulling potential partners off of our waiting list every single quarter to hopefully get to 6 million diapers.
You hear that, people? If you're on the list,
I know.
you might be.
Oh God, I know. we've already given some folks a heads up, and I mean, it means so much because
Exciting,
it really, we're working on particularly building out new partnerships in the northeast part of Baltimore and the southwest and South Baltimore. So Cherry Hill, Edmondson down, and then all of northeast. We don't have a lot of partners up in the Hartford, Parkville, not up to Parkville. Again, remember, we're only in the city.
I was going to say that because we get calls about this all the time.
I know. We're only in the city.
Also, help, but maybe
also no, but also we're working on that. I mean, I think we're, this is part of what we're looking at with our strategic plan is doing a feasibility study, ensuring that we're fully meeting the need here in Baltimore City, and then what could expansion look like at least out into the county where the need there is 10.7 million. Oh,
remind us of Baltimore City again.
Baltimore City is what do you mean?
For the Urban Institute study?
Oh, Baltimore City was 10 million.
10 million,
yes.
okay.
So 10 million for the city and then 10.7 for the county. And
wow.
I mean that.
But I also think the calls and inquiries about support from the county speaks to the moment that we're at right now, right? Like we really there is a need, there's an opportunity to do the work to make sure that the city is taken care of, so that we can stabilize within the city and then move beyond, because there really still is a need there.
And we know that we get calls from people from the counties, and we just send them to partners in the city, like just families. I need diapers for my baby. Please go to the closest partner and go get what you need. I mean, we're not prescriptive about this, but we want to make sure that we have the partnerships that can have the highest impact here in the city. So we're meeting with other folks who I will not name, but we're excited about potentially partnering with an anchor institution in Baltimore City that's everywhere to get, make diapers accessible to families on a whim, that they can, because we have the same problem with that you do. Our partners are only, they only distribute once a week or once a month. And, a family needs a diaper now, right? What do they do? So we're trying to work with an anchor institution that can help us with that in the moment need. But hopefully once we can take care of home first, then we will look at what we can do in the county. And that may be a longer lead project. But we could use everyone's intelligence and help to get there. So to your point, Anna, I think I hear a letter writing campaign on the horizon. That's what I hear. I hear us saying we're going to do a letter writing campaign, but we do need to find a policy solution for diapers. There was a study of two pilots, one in Tennessee and then one in Delaware, that billed through Medicaid for X amount of time. So maybe it was the first 6 months of life or the first 2 years of life, and provided diapers for people who for babies that were on Medicaid. And that is helpful. That frees us up for the families that are not on Medicaid to still be able to help close that gap. We are piloting a potty training program here, because the quicker we can get these babies out of diapers, again, it frees us up to then, get more diapers into the hands of families that need them, for their little ones, and then for children who have special needs and really do need diapers in the bigger sizes. So
that's a good point. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely.
Sizes. We're talking about like the bigger sizes.
Yes.
We have seen an influx of requests.
Absolutely.
For size 7 and now 8. We're like, I didn't know that it existed. And I'm in this world. And then we were like, oh my God, there's 8.
Yes.
So like we don't necessarily purchase, 8 size 8 diapers. And we don't get them in either. As you kind of mentioned about potty training, that is our suggestion, but who are we, right? We don't know every family circumstance, right? And so, we'll say we'll have like the overnights, we'll offer those. You can always have a little bit of a bigger diaper versus that of a smaller one, or a training pant that's a little bit bigger. But like this crazy influx of size like 7s, and I don't know where it came from.
Can I share? So I just recently was informed that when you are dealing with neurodivergent children, they have a harder time with staying dry overnight.
Okay.
And with potty training. And so again, I think this is also like the picture of the larger microcosm, right? As we are realizing that neurodivergence is really something it's affecting us, right? And we're seeing it in real time in the way that service is being asked of us. And so I wanted to share that because I just learned that this weekend, and it made so much sense that that might be a portion of it, right? Also, people are overtaxed, and like it takes a really long time and a lot of energy to buy. It's not my favorite part, right? But like, so understanding that there are so many different reasons, right? But even that information you can take to your legislator and say, hey, this is what's happening in our community.
Right.
This is why it connects over here, and this is why you need to really be supportive, right? And so I think making sure that we are seeing how all of the pieces fit together really allows us to bolster. And I'm the policy person, so I'm always talking about policy, but bolster our testimony, bolster our letters, right? Bolster the ask that we are requiring of our representatives, because it really is all
right. Yeah. Well, it feeds into school readiness too. I mean, you cannot go into if there is pre-K 4 or pre-K 3, you cannot go there. Well, 3 you can usually go in with diapers, but 4 not. And kindergarten, absolutely, you must be fully potty trained by the time you're in kindergarten. The quicker we can get children potty trained, the better it is for families, but it takes so long. And then you're to your point, you're dealing with neurodivergence. When we can identify those early learning disabilities, we can address those at the same time with school preparedness. So the Maryland agenda that we have for our families, and particularly our children, we care so deeply about children and families. I think this is one of the few states that I can say that really takes that to heart and prioritizes the needs of our families. We see it in the decrease in crime, violent crime, in murders, and the raising of services and access to those services in the city and in the state overall. We're seeing a huge decrease in those things. All of it matters, but it starts in early childhood. And if we're not supporting families properly in early childhood, we're not doing it right. And so I think that when we're talking about what needs to be done, part of that is getting a really, really good, consistent policy solution for how we can better support families in infancy and early childhood. So we're going to be in our annual partner meetings in February, and we're actually doing a potty training there because we know it's just really, really difficult, and we have some of our partners are Head Start providers. Right. So getting them the resources, they didn't know that it was a thing we were doing. And I was like, absolutely, let's figure out how we can help. But we're hoping to take that training and make it public, because all families need that help regardless of income. Everyone needs that. It is a trying time. It will make you pull on your higher power. To be able to get it done, but you also need to have the time. It takes a long weekend, it takes resources, it takes bribery. For your children, candy, foot books, and all the, having potty seats, all the things that you need. We want to do all that we can to help, but again, if we can have some help with the funding, because all of this costs money. We are not the same ShareBaby of 11 years ago, where we depended solely on donations. We purchased our diapers, and all of it costs. All of the gear that we purchase costs. We just got a small grant from the Barrett Foundation to purchase clothing, which is not something awesome. That I know. I was so excited. But it means so much to be able to purchase new clothing and underwear and socks for these babies. It makes us, we're just so thrilled. I mean, and it makes our operations manager very happy that she gets to shop on the block.
The sorting is also much better.
Spend her time shopping for clothing for kids, but we have to address all of the needs. And I would love to have you talk on it and kind of round us out with the things that folks can do. Where can folks plug in particularly?
So I think, one of the things that ShareBaby is doing right now is there's an active call for donations. We talked about donations. So there's an active call for donations, for hosting drives, for volunteering here in the space. So that's something that can be supportive wherever you are in the world. Finding some place where you can drop off diapers or gently used clothes or shoes, things like that. But then also making sure that you are finding opportunities, which you will hear from us if I have anything to do about it, about speaking to your legislators, writing letters, signing up for testimony, But one of the things that we say, you see it on your screen now, is show up, sign up, speak up, right? And so there's a way for you to show up and volunteer for different organizations. Both of the centers here that are represented here have said that volunteers have really made the difference at multiple points in this journey. And then making sure that you're signing up for different newsletters, different opportunities. There's sign-on letters that are coming. The Maryland Family Network sends out policy information all the time. The organization that I represent, the Doula Alliance of Maryland, sends out policy information on a regular basis. So signing up for these different alerts so you know what is being asked of you and when you can do it. And we're in the middle of a 90-day session right now. We just started last week. So making sure that you are reaching out to your representatives, reaching out to the organizations that are able to support you in how to do that if you don't know how to do it, and having the language to speak on basic needs, material needs to your representatives to make sure that they know that's important. And so again, part of their job is to listen to their constituents. And so they have constituents that are bringing this up throughout Maryland, Charles County, PG County, Baltimore City, Baltimore County. If they're hearing this over and over again, they won't have any choice because it's their literal job to work for the will of the people. So we want to make sure that you have opportunities to speak up as well.
There's a question. Are there details for the April 21st, 22nd advocacy event? And are there any plans to have the lobbying event in front of the Switzer building, HHS administration, for children and families, the sub-agency that administers funding for the diaper banks? The NDBN just posted the lobby day dates, which are April 21st and 22nd in Washington, D.C. Each diaper bank, we are only allowed 2 representatives to go. So if you would like to go with or in lieu of us, we have work to do. So if you'd like to go for us.
And we've been,
we'll go and we'll pay for you to go. It does cost, but we are happy to cover the cost of whoever would like to go. But yes, we would love for our community members to go and show up. We've gone before and it was a lead volunteer and I when we went. But we would love to have folks go down there. I don't know if there is any other additional organizing. Are you aware of?
I'm not sure as of yet. We can always ask and then share.
Yeah, we can ask the NDVN leadership whether or not there's some additional lobbying that will happen. But I think we're a little reticent to ask anything of this administration. And we know that the wins that we can have are local and state.
Absolutely.
But if and when the midterms change the landscape, then we can hoot and holler, and I think and we will likely be heard. But we have to. That's another show up thing.
Yeah, show up.
Please show up.
Show up.
Show up for election in November when it rolls around.
But I also think that when we're talking about babies, we're talking about early families. That kind of is a nonpartisan thing, right? Like it should be, in the best case scenario. And so I think that the material need, diaper need, taking care of families, the way that it leads into maternal mental health and all of these other ancillary areas is something that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, it should be important.
Right. This should not be a politicized issue, although it has been. When when the furlough happened, the federal shutdown happened, you have families that are now choosing because there's no food funding. Food. It makes me absolutely irate. But when folks have to make a decision about whether to buy food versus buying diaper, we saw the demand that we saw here. Even our partners were shocked themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were like, we started helping our sign up sheets because we normally just have people sign up for and tick off a box. But we saw double, triple, quadruple the amount of people coming in. And we thought, this is notable. We need to keep these. And I was like, great. I'm glad you did that because at least we can understand that. But that is exactly what happens. Folks are challenged to figure out, and goodness knows with the electricity bills, utility bill rather, let's call it what it is. All of the utilities are very, very high right now. Yet another place where people are forced to consider whether or not they buy diapers versus paying a bill. We are going to continue to see more of this if we don't make the change. But again, the biggest change we can make is by showing up here in our local areas, in our local city, state, and county government. That is where the change is going to happen. So everyone, we're encouraging and asking everyone to plug in. Are there any questions, additional questions from our lovely audience whom I can't see? But I know that they're lovely.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you for your question.
You can read them out, Katrina. Off camera is Katrina Cousins, our development manager, who's been typing up the questions. I'm from St. Agnes Hospital. We're having a community baby fair on April 24th and would love to have ShareBaby there if possible. We've also applied to be a partner on the wait list, and we're in Southwest Baltimore. I believe we do have you on the waiting list, St. Agnes. And we would love to help. So whoever emailed or sent in that question, who is it?
Rochelle Rockwell.
Rochelle Rockwell. Rochelle, if you will email us at info@sharebaby.org and just send that question in again, I'll put you in touch with our partnership specialist and she will reach out. We would be happy to help. Oh, I'm sorry, Rachel. We have not had enough coffee here this morning. We were just trying to get here on time.
Right.
But Arushi will be in touch with you and we'd be happy to be there. We generally do not attend public events because we don't distribute directly to the public. So we likely would not be there, but we would be happy to maybe have the closest partner to you come and or maybe we can have a quicker conversation about partnership if that makes sense. Because we share a common funder between us. So I would love to figure out what that might look like sooner than later. But thank you for your question, Rachel. Anything else, Katrina?
That's it.
That's it. Great. Well, if we don't have anything else, we will be posting this entire webinar. Well, it's live streaming on all of the socials right now, but it will be up on our YouTube. We'll share the link with you, Shelly, and with you, Anna, and please put it in all of the important places. We will also have it posted on our website with a list of things to do. So do not fret if you could not write your notes quick enough. If the links didn't come up, we will ensure that there will be a document that will have all of the places that you can get engaged later on. So
please be on the lookout for a potential letter writing campaign coming from someone. Susan.
What resource guide? Say it again.
The resource guide.
Oh, the resource guide is in the chat. Thank you. I'm sorry. My ears are not working either. Yeah, copy. Ears not working. Also, I'd like to invite everyone. We've got two fundraisers. If you've got a fundraiser, please say it. We've got two fundraisers coming up. One, we are doing a invite-only poker night on February 6th. If you play poker, well, there are other games. Don't worry, it's not real money. Don't come for us, please. It's not real money we're playing for. But it is a fundraiser. It's at Woodhome Country Club on Friday, February 6th at 7 p.m. from 7 to 10. There will be food and drink, and there will be a wine tasting and like a golf simulator and other fun things. And then our smaller annual fundraiser, Diapers and Donuts, which will be on April 25th, again at Woodhome Country Club in Pikesville. So,
oh, fancy.
Okay. It was so much fun. We just
I remember you used to do it at the warehouse.
Yeah, that's okay. Since we can't.
I understand. I get it.
We have 25 people in here.
I know.
It's we don't want to have the fire people come after us, but we're doing them outside now. But we'll definitely send you the invite.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good time.
But we don't have any fundraisers coming up as of now. So, but when things are happening, we'll definitely share it.
And where can people donate? What is your website?
Yeah, you can check us out at marylanddiaperbank.org, also our Instagram and Facebook. The handles are at ND Diaper Bank. So come see what we're doing, learn more about us. We are going to be partnering with other organizations in our area to kind of do like a visitation where people can come visit and learn. But we like to do it in a space where you can learn about multiple organizations. So maybe stop over here, stop over there. We're like in a 1 mile radius. So they can learn more about, like you said, because a lot of these things connect. So, we're just one piece of the pie. And so that's something that we're looking to do in our community. So you'll look out for that.
And Anna, how can everyone get to you?
You can email me if you'd like at anna.l.rodney7@gmail.com. I am sometimes on socials. Instagram, it's pronounced Anna, AH-NA. But then also you will see me in Annapolis representing the Doula Alliance of Maryland. And so you can go to doulaallianceofmd.org and get in touch with me there as well.
And you can reach us at sharebaby.org. All of our information is there. You can follow us on socials at ShareBabyMD. I think that is our handle on LinkedIn and Instagram and all of the things. I think we're pretty simple. But please, feel free to find our information and, come in and sign up for a volunteer session. We are starting to host student sessions on Friday afternoons. So if you've got young people in your life who need service hours, we are always happy to have you. So it's nice. At the end of the week, they need a little thing to do, work out all their little school wiggles. So it's wonderful. We're trialing that out.
Everybody still that.
Yeah.
Borrow.
No,
Pilot.
share
The love.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Exactly.
That's the perfect close. Thank you all so much for attending, and thank you all so much for coming in. I really
Thanks for having us.
That's for sure.